In this tutorial, we will learn how to make a smooth camera follow system for a top-down 2D game. Huge thanks to Alex Nadu for supporting me on Patreon and grabbing my source code. You can join too for exclusive perks. Now let's jump in and build it step by step.
To make our camera follow, we will create a script called camera follow or follow just like that. So go over to your project app, assets, right click, create mono behavior script and name it to something like camera follow. I already created script called camera follow. You can see over here. So let's attach this script to our main camera and now let's open up by double clicking on it, and let's go ahead and we're gonna remove this start function. We don't need, but we do need a reference to this player position, means the transform of this player which is responsible for position we can see in the inspector. So we need a reference of this transform of our player. So let's come at the top of our class and let's make a variable for that. So we're gonna make a public transform and we can call this player position or player. Let's call it simply player, and let's go over to inside this update function. To follow our player, we're gonna set the current position. So transform dot position means the current position of our main camera, and we can set equal to player dot position. But we're not gonna follow our player rigidly. We do want some smoothness. So instead of setting player dot position, we're gonna use a function called vector3 dot slurp function, and this function as a first argument it's gonna take the current position, where are you at right now, and the second thing it's gonna take the target position or which game object or where you just want to go or which game object you want to follow, and the third parameter you can think of it's gonna take the smoothness. So let's put them one by one. So the first parameter we're gonna put our transform dot position, means the current position of our main camera itself, and the second thing we can pass player dot position because we want to follow our player, and the third argument we can pass the smoothness. So let's make a variable for this as well. So let's come at the top our class, at the top of our class once again, and let's make a public float and we can call this one smoothness. So let's call it smoothness, and by default I'm gonna set something like 2f, and let's put it over here which is smoothness, and also make sure you just multiply with time dot delta time to make frame rate independence. So we're gonna multiply with time dot delta time, and that's all we have to do, and we're gonna close that up with semicolon, and let's go over to Unity editor. If we select our camera follow script player and it says none transform, so let's take our player from hierarchy, drag it there, and now we can see we have the player transform, means the position. And if we go ahead play our game, we will see our main camera just gonna start following our player right after the game start, and indeed it doing, but the camera is zoomed in. If I move over to transform, you can see the camera position in the Z axis is 0, so we need to set it to -10, so it's gonna be zoomed out, so our main camera will able to capture this environment, our player and all of these things. So we're gonna get out of play mode. So instead of setting our basically passing our player position directly, we're gonna make a variable for that, and we're gonna make a vector3 variable because we just want to set the Z position of our main camera as -10, so it's gonna be zoomed out in order to capture all of these things. So let's make a vector3 parameter for this, and we can call this one target pose. So let's call it target pose, or we can simply call it player position as well, but I'm gonna call this one target pose, and let's set equal to a new vector3. We're just gonna have the x comma y comma z axis. So since we want to zoom out our camera, basically we want our camera in the z to be -10, so we're gonna put -10 in the z, but we do want to follow our player in the x horizontally as well as vertically. So we will replace this x with our player dot position dot x because we want to follow our player in the x as well as vertically. So we will replace our y with player dot position dot y, and now instead of passing our player position directly, we're gonna pass our target pose vector that we created. So let's pass there, and this target pose vector just gonna follow our player in the x and y, means horizontally as well as vertically. And if we save our script, head again to Unity editor, we will able to notice that. Let's go ahead play our game, and we're gonna take a quick look on this. And indeed we can notice our player our camera, it's following our player smoothly, and we can play around with the smoothness. We can make it a lesser number to make it even more smooth, and if we make it something a bigger number, something like 10, it's following our player rigidly, just like this, you can see. So I'm gonna just leave it to 2, and I'm gonna get out of play mode, and that's all we have to do.